Part 2 day. M360 Smith & Wesson airweight 357 Magnum revolver. I took it to the range. I've been carrying it for a few days now. I don't know exactly how long it's been, and we've already discussed that. And since I've been carrying it, you must have already guessed and surmised that it wasn't a complete shit show at the range. Sorry about the beams of light that are coming through. We're having an odd weather day here. It wasn't a complete shit show. In fact, it was the exact opposite. This gun was surprisingly pleasant to shoot for a 16-ounce little J-frame that can handle full house 357 Magnum rounds, Magnum loads. It was a very, very nice shooting gun. Ignore this. This came from this. I did a lot of footage that day because I'm doing a 44 357 comparison as well as some single action, double action stuff. So of course I use the only 44 I own, my model 629 Smith & Wesson with these. Look at how beautiful those grips are. These are Hogue fancy hardwood grips with the cap on the bottom, checkered. Look at that conversion grips. Looks beautiful, and I could tell you take a good look, folks, because I'm going to take these things right the fuck off this gun. They made this gun unshootable. As good as they look, the thing was unshootable. It beat the living piss out of me, and maybe I'll include gory photos at the end of this video. But more to come on this bad boy. By comparison, and I will say, after a day of shooting 44 Magnum and 357, but mostly the 44 Magnum out of this thing, I actually finished up my day with going back to this in 357, and it was just like being cradled in mommy's arms. I swear to God, it shoots surprisingly light. I don't know exactly what I'm seeing things on the internet about what you carry 38 plus P's in it. This thing's a B. It's really not. It was a very nice shooting little gun. Maybe it's just these grips with the shape of my hand. Maybe it's the way these grips, they have a big wide spot. It's almost like you're grabbing a doorknob, but with this gun. At least that's how I feel. And it really it was a nice shooting, really a very nice shooting gun. It really didn't hurt me at all. Even when my hand was bleeding from the 44, I went back to this and it was no problem at all. I fully intend to, I will practice mostly with 38 and 38 plus P, mostly because although after the first range session, things seem good. Lockup is still tight. Everything's good. I got no signs of excess wear. You'll see some of the fireball photos. I probably led off this video with one of the fireball photos. I'm going to use those as cutscenes. You'll see, there's some flames. This is a little fistful of dynamite. There's some flames shooting out of here, but it handled it well. There's no excessive wear that I can see. It has those little steel inserts here. I guess this is a weak point in the alloy frame. This is the scandium alloy frame with the stainless steel cylinder, not titanium, and obviously the stainless steel barrel. No worse for the wear. Everything seems tight. Everything still feels good. And I really like this gun. The range impressions. Well, first off, I already explained how nice it shoots. It shoots like a lot bigger gun. I almost kind of thought, I'll get back to that later. It's like it seems like this is fake. How is it shooting like this? I thought I was doing something wrong. I kept checking the box. The box of ammo. This is what I was shooting. I was going with the vast majority of the rounds through this was the Remington Golden Saber 357, 125 grain. I'm probably going to carry those, mostly because the Paul Harrell did a video about snub nose 357s and 38s, and he used those. And on his chronograph, out of a Snubbie, he was getting about 1,250 feet per second out of those rounds. So that's seeing how smooth they shot out of this. If I'm getting 1,250 out of this for 125 grain bullet coming out of his gun, that is more. That's a nice. That's packing some punch, and so I'll trust him. Actually, Paul Harrell and I have an agreement. I use him for all my ballistics testing, and in return, he has no idea who I am. So it's an arrangement that works out well. In any case, with those rounds, it felt great. I also put some 158 grain ferrule through this gun, which felt a little different. I'm going to cut some video. I'm going to show you. I spliced and shit. You're going to be really impressed. You'll see the recoil difference. Actually, the recoil impulse for me was greater between the 125 grain and the 158 grain 357s than it was the 125 grain 357, and I think I was shooting 110 grain 38 plus Ps. not much of a difference between the 38s and 357, and more noticeable difference, made a little more pleasant. Plus, shit was coming out everywhere with the 158 grains. Maybe it was just that particular round. But I'll stick with the 125 grains. And oddly enough, I got around to reading the instructions like I usually do. And the Smith & Wesson actually recommends that you do not go lighter than 120 grains in the dog is back. Don't go lighter than 120 grains in this. And I don't exactly know why that is. Maybe it's they're concerned about the alloy frame somehow. Maybe they're concerned about maybe that crimp jump thing, you know, where the recoil kind of unseats the bullet from the casing. I don't know. I'm a 125 grain guy anyway when it comes to 357 Magnums if I'm carrying them against humans. So that's not an issue for me. Trigger I mentioned is nice, and it's getting nicer, like most revolvers, you know, so it'll work itself in. And for a J-frame, from my experiences with them, this is a nice one. Of course, I went with the hammer. I like the option. You know, America's about choices. I like the option of being able to cock this hammer and go single action. I did a little demonstration with it. I'm doing a single action, double action project that I'm kind of toying with. I'll probably use some of that video that I shot with this for that one. But I did kind of a hostage scenario type of thing. I know. Single action, double action. You'll see why I like single action even at close ranges, and it'll take some explaining, but I'll get into that at the end of this video. The sights, my first few cylinders, I was going a little low with everything, and I'm wondering if, I don't know, maybe there's some geniuses out there. You see how high that ramp is compared to the trench rear sight? Could it be possible that in order to get a sight picture on that thing, I'm dipping the nose a little bit? Maybe that ramp is a little too high. Is that entirely possible? Again, it wasn't huge from the distances that I was shooting at, but I was pulling a little low. Towards the end of the session, I was compensating, I think. But I'm not in love with the sight. It's not like it's so incredibly high vis. I have to weigh that against two things. One, my laziness of swapping out a sight. Even though it's a pin sight, it shouldn't be a very difficult operation. My laziness of swapping that out, and also really am I really going to engage anybody with this gun over 10 or even 15 yards? Probably not. That's why all of my shooting that you're going to see here is going to be from about 5 to 7 yards, 10 on the outside. This gun, I mentioned prior to in prior videos, at 25 yards, look, when you're a uniformed police officer, you have some reasons to shoot at 25 yards. I've said it, you know, when you might have a guy who's firing at other people, might be firing at other police officers, and you might be 25, 20, 30 yards away, where you're going to start shooting at him because you have an obligation to engage, you have a duty to engage. You don't have that same obligation as a civilian. You really don't, especially in New York. I don't know how, I can't speak for the rest of the country, but in New York, you have an obligation to get the fuck out of there if you can. So 25 yards, really, for liability-wise around here, you're not engaging anybody at 25 yards. And if someone wants to engage you at 25 yards, look, you're 75 feet away. You should run anyway. But even with this gun especially, I'm not saying, well, I got 357 Magnum, I'm going to run. Yes, idiot, you're going to run. Because at 25 yards, you're at a disadvantage with this little gun. You got 5 rounds. You're going to pop all of it? No, you're going to miss. You're going to miss once. Even if you miss once, you blew off 20% of your ammo from a low probability shot that's going to get you in legal problems even if you hit him. Okay, with a gun like this is a gun where you hide, you find cover concealment. You pull him into, assuming this guy's after you. If it's just a guy shooting up the movie theater, you know what? Sequester yourself in some little space with your family and your loved ones and get ready. And if he walks past you, great. If he doesn't, if he's coming directly after you, pull him into your kill zone. Okay, cover concealment. That's what these guns are all about. And that's what any gun should be all about, honestly, cover and concealment. Even if, with my old man eyes, I couldn't hit you anyway. But, you should always be thinking those type of tactics. And I'm not a tactical Tommy. But, you know what? I'm going to go into a story here to illustrate this point. Then I'll move on to the actual nuts and bolts of going on with this gun. I don't want to turn this channel into a forum for fucking NYPD war stories. Look, I was on that job for 28 years. And in that time, plenty of guys saw a lot more action than me. And plenty of guys saw a lot less action than me. It's just the way it goes. There's no great shakes. I'm not here to fucking play anybody's hero. But I'm going to be a quick story because it pertains to what I'm talking about here. Way back in the day, this is like early 90s, I was carrying my 38 revolver, my Model 64 38 Smith & Wesson revolver. And we get a call for a man with a gun. We get a gun run on the roof of some apartment building. Middle of the summer, kind of evening, about a couple hours before sunset, so it was well lit. My partner and I make our way up the stairs. It's a walk up, of course. We get to the roof, and once we get to the rooftop landing, we open the door, and of course the elevator, not the stairwell, has a little enclosure around it. The stairs have to go somewhere, the door, and we get out. And I turn the corner, and as soon as I turn the corner, I'm still right by the door. I'm sort of facing someone, pointing a rifle, like about that angle. If you're me, a rifle was about that angle, okay? Now, rifle against a 38 revolver, you should be thinking tactics and cover and concealment anyway. But I happened to be right there, and I had perfect cover and concealment. And of course, concealment being something that shields you from enemy view, cover would be something that is capable of shielding you from enemy fire. In this, a brick enclosure, I had both. I had cover and concealment. I was able to draw on them, and because I had that cover and concealment, I had a level of, at least I felt as safe as you can be in a situation. I felt a level of safety. It allowed me to take in a situation and slow down the situation. It allowed me first to acquire my sights and also to really look at what my target is and what my target was doing. In this case, my target still was not really noticing me that much. And I got a chance to look at him. I said, this guy looks kind of young. And the rifle he's holding, the stocks on that rifle look kind of shitty, like kind of fake, like almost like plastic. Is that a fucking BB gun? So I'm thinking I'm 85% sure it's a BB gun. Of course, I still challenge him. I start yelling my head off at him. He sees me, doesn't know what to do for a second, drops it after a few minutes of muzzle going all over the fucking place, drops his fucking rifle. Sure enough, a 14, 15-year-old kid with a BB gun. The reason why I didn't let some shot, I'm not going to say why I didn't kill the kid. Let's assume I hit him, you know what I mean? But the reason, and the fucking bullets we were using at the time was actually going to penetrate his clothing. The reason why I didn't shoot right away, it would have been a justified shooting, okay? But, he was black and I was white, so cue the fucking hysteria. But, the reason why I didn't shoot was because tactically I had cover, I had concealment. I was able to slow the situation down and bring it into me. That's the only reason why that, and the awesome lighting conditions, that's the only reason why I was able to take in my adversary, take in his weapon, make that conclusion, and take an extra second to say, you know what? I can withstand his first shot even if he does take one. I'm good here. And before I finish off, my decision to shoot or not shoot was based strictly upon the criteria that I laid out to you, not the fact that he was black and he was white. So if I had decided to shoot, that would have had nothing to do with it either. So sorry, Mr. Kaepernick. In any case, that's what this gun is used for. This is a civilian gun. This is a gun that's perfect for that. This is a gun where you have it on you. No one else does. No one's going to see it. Something happens, you get your ass away. If you can't get your ass away, pick your spot. And when you're in your spot, then this gun could be deadly. This gun could be devastating because it's 5 rounds of 357 Magnum. And that's really what it is. It shot so well. I'm going to cut to some shooting soon. I'm going to stop talking. Don't worry about it. It shot so well that this is probably going to become not only my program compliance gun, because there's no reason not to carry this. It literally weighs nothing. Not literally, it weighs 16 ounces. It is so light and so small. There's no reason not to have this on you. And this is not a compromise. That 380, that LCP2 was a compromise. It was a better than nothing gun. It was something to have on you because you can't hide anything else on you. This is a gun that you can hide on you almost as easily, only this is not a compromise. This is a 357 Magnum, 5 rounds of it. This is a serious firearm. So, this is not only my program compliance gun, this is going to be my everyday civilian carry gun. I'll preface that a little bit. Now, I am a civilian. I'm a civilian all the time. Now, I'm not in law enforcement anymore, but I do work. I do work in a job where I am armed and I'm carrying a gun professionally. Okay, and because of that, and also where I work with in the course of that job. So whereas this thing, I could hide this on me, and I'm expecting to get the meth head coming when I'm walking out of a supermarket or the fucking two or three punks as I'm walking out of the movie theater with my wife, or shit like that. And because it's New York, they're expecting the average citizen not to be armed because we've given away our rights here and we keep voting for the same fucking people and marching so that they can continue to take away our rights. So the piece of shit criminal is expecting, and they're usually right, they're expecting the average citizen to be unarmed because we've been stripped of our Second Amendment rights in New York State. So they're thinking it's an easy mark. This is a nasty surprise, okay? For carrying professionally, I'm still going to go with a quick reload, and it's unloaded. A quick reload, 11 rounds, 9mm, which is no slouch also. This is more of not a meth head coming out of the supermarket. This is a mass shooter. This is a coordinated terrorist attack. Not that I'm going to take down a ISIS fucking kill squad with 11 rounds out of a fucking 3.1-inch barrel, but this is definitely more capacity. You're a little more armed with this as opposed to fishing around for 5 loose rounds in your pocket, 5 when you're empty. So this is going to be still my everyday carry for that city, okay? When you know, I'm standing in my suit on the corner of fucking Terrorist Attack Avenue and fucking Mass Shooter Boulevard, this is going to be my everyday carry for that type of thing. And also, depending on my clothing and what I can wear and that type of thing, because this is a great option. This can be stuck in my gym shorts. In fact, it's going to be stuck in my gym shorts as soon as I'm done with this video. This can be put in a pocket. This can be carried and this can be worn on an ankle, and you could walk all day in it because you're not even feeling it. This is a great everyday carry gun. The only downside to it, the only drawback to it is its capacity. And you can't look, it is 5 rounds it's not much. It's enough to surprise somebody. It's not enough to engage multiple armed adversaries or even one armed adversary, depending on what he's armed with. It's not if their intent. But to surprise someone, to someone who's going to look to make you a victim, this is perfect. That's why this is going to be my everyday carry for when I'm dressed like this, okay? Now let's get to some shooting. I guess this first clip I'll show you is just going to be my first cylinders. My first cylinder, I think I'll do 38 and then 357. I'll put up the targets that each one of them produced, and then I'll probably after that go into some recoil comparisons, because those are actually pretty telling. I think you're going to enjoy that. Okay, so let's see what this thing looks like and sounds like when it goes off, when it goes bang. See what I mean? It shot very nice, and the recoil was not what all you guys on the internet, you all lied to me. I was expecting this thing to be a horror show. I'm shooting for fucking damn near 30 years now, and I'm used to on the first shots of the 38. I'm adjusting. I'm like, oh Jesus, even with 38, this is gonna suck. You're a bunch of liars. Well, anyway, I kid because I love. You'll see what I'm talking about. This was the 38. See, it was going low. Again, this was only the first 15, and I did wind up adjusting to it. Here's my targets with my 357. Spread them out a little bit more. You know, I was trying to feel myself around, and also I was feeling a little saucy by the time I went to this one. This is not about target shooting, by the way. You think you notice with all my videos, with very few exceptions, unless I'm trying to prove some type of a point, I'm not really sitting there agonizing over the trigger pull. I try to pull at a fairly quick pace. I'm going to shoot even a little bit quicker as some of these videos go on. But, you know, you can't do Magnums. You can't be wide opening out there because you're in a public range. The guy's always watching over your shoulder. These next ones, I think we're going to go into some comparisons right now. I kept talking about how nice this shoots. Let's go into some comparisons. I think this one we'll do a comparison between, it's going to be a split screen. The 38, 110 grain, 38 Special Plus P, and 125 grain Golden Sabers. And this is kind of surprising. Check it out. I know, right? And I was one-handed. I mean, I kept on checking the box. I thought I was fucking something up. I kept on waiting for this thing to start killing me, and the nerve damage I kept on hearing about on the fucking internet. This was nothing. This was absolutely nothing, especially compared to this. Especially compared to this fucking thing that I think secretly wants to kill me. On this next one, we're gonna see. Why don't we look at a couple of I switched over to the 158 grain Federals. I want to show you a couple of videos with those, especially on one of them. I think one of them would talk about shit flying out of the gun as I was shooting it when I was shooting those 158 grains. I think I'll just show one video. Watch at the end of this video, and you see the crap flying towards the camera, and then I'll do a comparison. Did you catch it? Those 158 grains were noticeably not hot. I don't know if they're hotter, but they kicked it more than it might have even looked on a video. I felt it. In fact, I did a few cylinders of them before I said to myself, you know what? Let me actually start taking notice and filming some video on these things, because I really noticed the difference in this little gun. So bullet weight maybe that's what we're talking about. Maybe you lunatics are shooting 158 grain, 180 grain Magnums out of this thing. Not me. It's a little too rich for my blood. But here's another split screen comparison, just because, you know, I'm figuring out how to use that movie maker thing. Check this out. And here's one more little bit of trickery for you. I loaded up a cylinder. I mixed it with 125 and 158 grain. The last two are the 158 grain. See if you can notice the difference on these. Now I think I'm just going to string together into a montage. I'm editing the shit out of these videos now. I'm going to string together a montage of just the majesty that is 357 Magnums coming out of a gun this fucking small. So enjoy it. Oh, quick note before the montage. I made this later. I'm editing now. Look at me editing. In this montage, you'll see, I think, as I go into the second clip of it, obviously, gun this small, it's not a full-size ejector rod. So with those long 357 Magnum casings, you can get some hang-ups a little bit. It's really the first time and the only time it happened to me all day. But what do you expect? And how much you really reloading anyway, right? So on with the show. Gun shoots nice. That was nice, right? It shoots a lot bigger. Or wait, it shoots a lot bigger than it is. This is a very nice shooting gun, even with full bore 357, full house 357 Magnum loads. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to start wrapping it up soon. I'll touch back on this now. I said I did some type of half-ass hostage situation, and what I did was basically, this is a simulation of, look, this is a scenario that's never going to happen to anybody, okay? But if it does happen, this is a reason why I just at least like having the option. I hung up a piece of, you had to fucking see it. I hung up like a basic silhouette target, and I drew heads on either side as if the guy's, you know, hiding out behind there, you know, type of thing. And I acted as if, you know, what happens if this meth head grabs your kid, grabs your wife, grabs your girlfriend, and, you know, is hiding behind her doing that old Hollywood shit, you know what I mean? And you're here with now, you know, you got you got your gun pointed at me saying drop the gun. By the way, never drop the gun. I shouldn't have to tell anybody watching this thing. This gun is the only thing keeping her and you alive. You don't drop your fucking gun. and he's saying, drop your gun, and you're going to sit there, and I did it as if I was already cocked, ready to go, where I could just drop the hammer with less than 3 pounds, or on the left side, as if I had to, as I was lining up the shot, to try and get that shot off in that time that it takes, and see if there's any difference in speed and accuracy. Here's the video of both. I'm going to show you of both. I think that the first one will be single action. The second one will be double action. I'll just lead into them without talking, and then I'll show you the target that I'm talking about. First off, I should explain that, you notice on the double action one, after my first shot, I sat there. I wasn't contemplating life. To do this type of scenario, I got it in close, not like within spitting distance, but within maybe 5 feet away. And you see the fireball that comes out of the front of this gun? After that first shot with the double action, the paper started to do this type of thing. So I had to wait for it to calm down to make it a fair type of test. With that said, did you notice anything? To look at it, you would say, well, how do you time that? Basically, I take that as if it was for both single action and for double action, that was 5 individual scenarios. The idea being that you're not doing follow-up shots. This is, you're taking the shot. You know what I mean? You got one shot at this. You're either going to get it, that, or you can get that. That's your one shot. So I was doing the same experiment 5 times for each video clip. So take it as that. Not like I'm shooting a guy 5 times ahead at that speed. So timing, the time between shots is irrelevant. But here's what we got. And don't laugh at my friggin' drawing. This is double action. This is the single action. Well, obviously the single action was more accurate. Okay. These are all still fatal shots, except for this one. Maybe I grazed them, and that's an issue. This, obviously, the single action gave me a little bit more control. But what we might say, well, geez, come on, man, you're really splitting hairs there. Revolver should only be fired double action. This is what didn't show up on video. The confidence that you have to take that shot. Now, I'm just shooting at paper, but I'm telling you, in that situation, trying to get the cylinder around, that he's going to be seeing this fucking cylinder spinning as you're saying, no, I'm not going to shoot you. No, I'm not shooting at you. That is time. And even though it didn't seem like that much time on the video, that's time, and it's much harder to keep those sights, even at 5 feet away, as opposed to getting the sights on them. You could tell them, no, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be all fucking good. Oh, what just happened? I know it's a crazy scenario. I know it's ridiculous. I know. I want the option to fire a gun like this. It's hard enough to be accurate as it is. I want the option of being able to fire a gun like this, single action, if I have to. In a self-defense situation, I know it's this. Okay? I know it's that. Okay? But in that 1 in a fucking 1,000 chance that something like that's going to happen, and I got to fucking put one through I have to put a round through a flea's ass at 100 yards, whatever fucking Clint Eastwood said there. If I have to do that, I want to give myself the best chance of doing it. I know this is a snag issue. You just have to modify your draw stroke or shoot it through your pants, but you have to modify your draw stroke then and realize that you do have a hammer there. To me, this is worth it. And also, I have kind of I'm going to get this into when I actually do the double action, single action. I'm going to regurgitate a lot of footage for that probably, because I'm going to use, I did it with full size guns, the 44 Magnum and the Ruger GP100. For guys who came on a job in my era, the single action, double action thing is kind of a sore point for us. So in any case, take it for what it was. This is my choice, and that's what I'm going to stick with it. I think I showed you all the video, so I'm going to come back. I'll put this crap away. I'll come up with some closing thoughts. All right, so let's wrap this up. What can we take away from this? My takeaway is that this gun is almost too good to be true. It is just about what I was looking for. It is one of the smallest, lightest guns that I've ever owned. I've ever felt. I mean, that LCP2 is the only thing that's smaller and lighter as far as lighter, not necessarily smaller in some dimensions. Yet it delivers and utilizes my favorite caliber, which is 357 Magnum, which I think when I do the 44 versus 357 video with the full-size guns, you're going to see why I think 357 is the greatest personal defense caliber against anything but bears and big shit like that on two legs. I love the 357 caliber. Its only downside is, it comes in only in a revolver. I'd like some more options than that. Yeah, there are some things that shoot 357, really expensive semi-autos. It only comes in revolver. But that, I'm kind of revolver guy, so that's not it. The only real downside to it is it's a capacity. It's a capacity issue. You're getting 5 rounds. You're getting 5 very effective rounds, but it's only 5 rounds. Other than that, there is no downside to this gun for me. Might be for you. Now look, I had some other video. I'm doing an update on my 365. And at the end of all this, after all these Magnums were done kicking my ass, although I said this was like mommy's arms, I just blew off some rounds. I wanted to get to 600 rounds through this just to do I'll do a quick preview. Nothing changed, and it's functioned flawlessly. What a difference it is going from those fucking kick-ass revolvers to a nice 9mm semi-automatic. This thing is smooth. This thing is butter. Do you want to say big disadvantage to this is that it's a revolver by nature of the fact that it's a revolver? I really can't argue with you. I can't. Some people just shoot semi-automatics better, and I'm fucking one of them. I shoot semi-automatics better. Most people do. This is a great gun. Semi-autos are great. This is a great shooting gun. And for all that's, but it's also 7 ounces heavier than this. And this is a more powerful gun. And yes, folks, it is a more powerful gun. As long as we can get away from, you say snub-nosed revolvers. What the hell do you think this is? Can we all get away from the fallacy? At least on my channel. Let's all step away from the idea that, this is not a 3.1 inch barrel, okay? This is the chamber. Here's the fucking barrel. So from forcing cone to chamber, it's the same barrel as this gun. Are we gonna count this as the barrel? If that's the case, this is a 4-inch barrel. No, this is a snub-nosed gun. It's a very good snub-nosed gun. But again, for all of its capacity and what a great shooting gun that it is, it's 7 ounces heavier than this gun. And for being an armed citizen, this offers everything that I need in a gun. Okay, there's no disadvantage other than capacity, and that is a disadvantage. I'm not poo-pooing that. That is a disadvantage. But for what I intend to use it for, 5 is enough for me. Another thing, I'm not going to call it a disadvantage, but I can't help but think. I said it feels kind of like a toy. It looks kind of like a toy. And again, I'll reference Paul Harrell if you want to see. He did a. I'll leave you with this. He did a presentation on 44 Special. And one of the reasons why, why would you carry 44 Special? And all the reasons that he always gives, if it's the gun you own, it's the gun, it's the only gun you can legally own, and so on and so forth. But he also said some people just feel that it's an impressive looking gun, and that's more important. They think that pointing a gun like that is more impressive than pointing a gun like this, or I didn't put it back together, sorry, or like this. And I think he said that, they've done studies and people found that semi-automatics are more intimidating than revolvers. And as far as, stainless steel guns are more intimidating than black guns, big bore guns, big, muzzle opening guns are more intimidating than smaller bore guns. So this has pretty much everything going against it then, doesn't it? It's all black, it's a revolver, and, the 357, it's basically a 38 caliber opening. Does this have intimidation factor? Maybe not. I mean, anyone who can identify as 357 Magnum might be intimidated, but is it the most intimidating gun in the world? No. Does it look kind of like a toy? Yeah. But I'll finish with 2 quick anecdotes. And again, these don't count as war stories because I was off duty. First quick anecdote. Early 90s, I was carrying my my Model 640 Centennial J-frame 38 Specials revolver. And I'm leaving work. I'd signed out, and I'm leaving work. I was in Queens. That was 103rd Precinct at the time. And I'm going up 169th Street or something towards Hillside Avenue. I want to get on the Grand Central Parkway. And I'm stopped at a light. And at this particular light, there's a bodega on one corner and a pizzeria on the other. And the pizzeria was closed, but the bogey was still open. And I'm sitting at the light, minding my own business, as they say. And some fucking drunken retrobate comes, half staggering up to my fucking window. He had a little penknife. The blade might have been as long as my thumb. He gets to be about maybe 7 or 8 feet away. And he starts bubbling, yeah, I need money, give me money, that type of shit. Oh, yeah, hold on, I got something for you. I pulled out my 640 J-frame, stainless steel, maybe that made all the difference. And I fucking pointed right at his face. I said, get the fuck out, get the fuck away from me, I'll blow your head off. He didn't know whether fish or cut bait. He dropped that shit and ran like dogs were chasing him, okay? Quick story number 2. Maybe even in the same year. I'm still carrying that same 640 Centennial, stainless steel, no hammer. And I'm out at the Smith Haven Mall out in Suffolk County. Okay, I haven't been to that mall in years. I don't even know if it's still there. But at the time, there used to be a freestanding ATM right in the middle of the parking lot. So I pull in there. I don't know what I was doing there. And I go over to the ATM. I'm going, the magnetic door closes behind me. It's a fairly big vestibule, ATM vestibule. As I'm getting my card out, 3 or 4 punk-ass kids fucking stand there, start banging on the door. They can't get in there with a card. And they're laughing, they're joking, they're pointing at me, and they're saying, you better take out enough money for all of us. We're going to be here. We're waiting for you. Oh, okay. I take out my gun, my Smith & Wesson 640. I place it on the counter right by the ATM, and I continue with my ATM withdrawal, and I don't pay them any more mind. Get my money, put it in my wallet, pick up my gun, and magically they were all gone. So you know what? I guess guns are intimidating. If anyone's in their right mind, they're going to be intimidated by a gun. Maybe like one of those little North American arms things. Maybe not those because they don't think it's real. A gun is a gun, and it's going to intimidate people. At least in New York, where no one's supposed to be armed except the criminals. Maybe in the free states, maybe like where you guys can buy anything anywhere. Maybe the criminals are carrying better shit than you, so they're going to laugh at this because they got whatever. Name something. I'm drawing a blank right now. Those are my 2 anecdotes. For me, perfect everyday carry gun. It is not only in my rotation, it's the majority of my rotation. It basically goes down between this and my SIG 365. They're both excellent choices. You're not going to go wrong with this. And at least for me anyway, don't believe the hype. This thing shoots sweet. Questions, comments, by all means, let me know. Again, everything I say is my opinion, based upon my experience, my education, my training, and my personal preferences. This works for me. I like it. If you're in the mood, if you're in the market for a good concealable, powerful revolver, give it a look. I'm sure there are other ones, but this one's for me. Until next time, I got a few more projects coming. Signing off.